All right, Kinds of Kindness, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, most famously recently for his work on Poor Things, a film that generally everybody loved.
Yeah, I really enjoyed
I
Poor
like to call
Things,
it the hipsters Barbie.
yeah, maybe the hipsters.
Pretty similar themes, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot
This
more
is
artsy
true.
though.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Kinds of Kindness, pretty different film to that. Although
Yeah.
carries his signature style, I would say.
Yeah. It's more aligned with some of his earlier movies, like The Lobster, Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yep.
I think he had a short film before that, but I've forgotten. No, it wasn't. It was Dogtooth. I think that was a Greek movie because he is a Greek director.
Greek descent, yeah.
Yeah. So there is one Asian person in this movie.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Hong Chau's in this.
Hong Chau's in this.
Yeah.
She plays three characters because the movie's based upon like three stories, three anthologies, but she's not the main character in any of them. The leads are all played by Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone. And then all the supporting actors, the ones that I can remember, Hong Chau and Willem Dafoe, and there's a few other famous actors in there that I didn't recognize.
Margaret Qualley is in there.
Yeah. That's it. That's her name. I forgot.
Yep. And some others. The cast is pretty small in
Pretty
general
stacked.
because
pretty
pretty
stacked
small but
though,
pretty
yeah.
stacked. You're right. But you're
Yeah.
right. There are three stories, three not connected stories, not narratively connected anyway.
Yeah, loosely, thematically connected.
So interesting format for a feature film. But yeah, all of the characters in each story, they're all played by the same actors. So so the first story is basically about a man who is played by Jesse Plemons, who tries to take control of his own life because he's kind of like his life up to that point has been kind of steered by Willem Dafoe's character. The second story is about a policeman whose wife is rescued from sea, but she seems like a different person when she comes back. And the third movie is about a woman who is searching for someone with a special ability because she's part of some kind of cult that is looking for their messiah.
I guess we shouldn't go too deep into them because, we've already got a lot to talk about this episode. But yeah, I mean, the film overall is pretty much classic Lanthimos and probably my favorite Lanthimos. Whereas I did enjoy, The Favorite and Poor Things. I don't often revisit those movies. I often revisit movies like The Lobster and Killing of a Sacred Deer.
The darker offerings.
Yeah, they're a bit very darker, very dry, dark humor, very, very good humor.
A lot weirder.
Yeah, it's
I would say
very inaccessible if you are not used to this kind of film.
Yeah, kind of unhinged.
Its format is weird. Its length is long and its humor is dark. And I'm pretty sure, there were definitely people that walked out after the second story. Because when I was leaving, I just had some woman just be like, I just couldn't handle it after the second one, It's too much.
It's definitely not for everyone. Like you said, pretty inaccessible. But I really enjoyed this film. Yeah, all of the stories, they're really fun in a dark, unhinged kind of way. They're really funny.
Yeah.
I found I think this is probably the most I've ever laughed in a Yorgos film, laughed out loud, I would say. Yeah. Just and it's really hard to do this kind of humor. I think it's very clever. There's a bit in the first story where it's a really simple gag, but it's super effective, where Willem Dafoe's character and Jesse Plemons' character are having this really intense conversation because Jesse Plemons' character is trying to separate himself from Willem Dafoe. And Willem Dafoe is sitting on a couch while Jesse Plemons is standing up. And they're having this really intense conversation, and then Willem Dafoe kind of stands up and steps away from the couch, and you see that he's wearing shorts, and the whole theater just cracked up. It's just something it's really funny about Willem Dafoe wearing shorts.
Just wearing shorts it's really hard to explain this kind of humor. It's just dry because there's not necessarily a joke. But I guess if you analyze it, there's probably some sort of layers to it. But at the end of the day, it just looks funny. That's why we're all laughing.
Yeah.
But there's just a lot of weird scoring to the movie. Lots of haunting Gregorian chants, but it's very minimal and it's quite eerie.
Yeah.
And it's weird because this is you would call this like a pretty highbrow movie, but if you like dissect some of its humor, it is kind of like silly.
Yeah.
Like it's
Willem
hard to
Dafoe wearing
explain.
shorts is objectively silly, you know, like, but it's universal as well. That's why like the whole theater cracked up. And yeah, just like the framing of the scene, it's definitely very intentional. And like a lot of the edits as well.
Yeah.
It's just really good visual gags.
Like I can't talk about it too much, but there's just a scene involving dogs, which is really funny. Then it gets really dark and then really funny again.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, it's really silly. Like what I really like about Lanthimos' movies is the way characters talk to each other. The dialogue is very much unnatural and there's a weird timing to it. It's almost like it's too precise, as if the characters are sort of rehearsing what they're going to say to each other. Like they're always on cue. They're always like, there's not that much of a pause.
Yeah.
But it kind of adds to this weird universe that he's created. It's very like dreamlike. It's ethereal feeling. And that's what I really liked about this movie. Yeah. Everyone in all the stories is pretty much unlikable. So, which is very hard to do. It's a Lanthimos like it's his signature, you know. All the characters are kind of out to get each other. There's nothing. There's not that much for you to latch on to.
They're unlikable, but you do feel for them.
Yeah,
in
you feel for
certain
them.
situations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And a lot of that comes through in the performances as well. Like, because I don't know anything about acting, but it's probably really hard to portray these kinds of characters that are just kind of like so separated from reality, but you're still trying to convey real emotions. It's weird. Like these characters are weird.
I like the balanced squeamishness to it, balanced awkwardness, because this is not a particularly violent film or even sexual film, not as much as Poor Things, but there's just these instances where there is like violence and there's like some pretty like hardcore sex scenes, I would say, where it's more implied, but the way that it's used is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But it's also very unsettling, especially in the second story.
The violence is never for the sake of violence. It's always serving the story, as are the sex scenes. Well, the sex scenes is really just a gag, really.
It's a gag. It's a gag,
and a pretty good one as well.
There's only really one.
Yeah.
There's a couple. It's not Poor Things, like, you know.
Right.
Emma Stone really likes working with Lanthimos, like really likes working with Lanthimos, where I wonder, you know, she's like, oh yeah, I'll just do this, I'll do whatever. But, you know, she's getting Oscars from it, so yeah, why not?
Yeah, I think the cast it's cast really well in general. Like you've got all these weird characters and they're played by a bunch of weirdos, I guess. Like Willem Dafoe has form in being a weirdo. From what I've seen of Hong Chow, she's got this kind of stoicism that really sells like kind of characters that talk this way, I guess.
Yeah.
Jesse Plemons as well. He's got like this kind of deadpan demeanor that he pulls off. And Emma Stone she's really good at acting weird as well.
Jesse Plemons is great, man. I love that guy.
Love that guy in Jungle Cruise.
I first saw him in, he was in Jungle Cruise. Why do you always remember these actors in like the most
it's what I watched
generic bit?
Leave me alone.
I was going to say, like, I first saw him in I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which I really liked. And I also has Jesse Buckley, who I really like as well. But yeah, I guess most people would know him as Jungle Cruise.
Whoever he played in Jungle Cruise.
Guy. To be fair, Jungle Cruise is not a bad movie. It's just fun.
It's pretty forgettable movie.
It's very forgettable, but
it's not the worst.
It's a movie with The Rock in it, you know. You know what you're gonna get. Yeah. It's a commercial product. Surprisingly, no Terramana ad reads in that movie, you know. So
true.
Maybe it hadn't come out then. Yeah. There's no Terramana in this movie because there's no The Rock. Yeah.
No. I would love to see The Rock in a Yorgos film, though. I think you know, it would be weird enough of a situation that would work.
Yeah. Which out of the three stories, without giving too much away, would you say was your favorite one, though?
It's pretty hard. I think I enjoyed the first one the most, maybe. Yeah, I really like the setup of the first one. and the relationship between just Willem Dafoe and Jesse Plemons' characters is very interesting. And yeah, I liked all of them. I think maybe I was losing steam by the third one, but the third one was probably the most interesting. But I think just my energy levels were kind of down at that point. Yeah.
It's a long movie. It's a very self-indulgent movie. I like these kind of movies, so that could be a positive or a negative, whatever kind of movie viewer you are. But yeah, I will admit, I was kind of losing energy towards the third half. I think like I'd just gotten off the plane the day before and had a bit of trouble at the airport and was basically sore from it. So I was just like, oh yeah, I'm pretty tired, but it was still good. I would say that probably my favorite one would be the second story because each story, like two of them, Jesse Plemons is basically the main character and then Emma Stone is the main character in the stories. But the second one is probably like the most balanced one.
Right.
It's probably the weirdest one. It's the most dreamlike one. And it's probably the most fucked up one as well. Yeah, it's so weird. And you can never really tell where anything is going in these movies. Even for like Lanthimos, you can never really predict what is going to happen next because these worlds are so unreal.
Yeah. I think he does like to subvert expectations as well. So there is that is an element of it too. You think the story is going to go one way, but then he just, it goes another way.
I just love how like Lanthimos has such a like good grip on basically writing a comedy or humor, but he as a person seems very humorless. I guess. We saw like a little statement from him at the start of the film. He's like, "Hi, I'm Yorgos Lanthimos. Yeah, thanks for coming to my movie. Sorry, I'm not there, but basically I'm at Cannes, so see you later." That was kind of the message.
He's a pretty funny guy. I saw like some interviews after Poor Things, where it's kind of like him, Mark Ruffalo and Emma Stone talking scenes. And I remember there was one bit in the interview where it like they paused the footage that they had, and Emma Stone's face was just really like weird and fucked up. Like it was a really unflattering like freeze frame, and like Mark Ruffalo and Lanthimos were just like cracking up because they couldn't get over it. I mean, it seems like his sets are pretty fun to work on.
Yeah. I wonder what working on this movie would be like, or working on a set like this. You'd have to have like some level of, I guess, depravedness. Like, I can't imagine this being a particularly PC set because everything is quite grimly funny. And I wonder how Lanthimos or how the crew work together to have this energy and gets this performance out of people. Because I know in Lanthimos, he didn't write Poor Things or The Favourite. That was written by Tony Ayres, Australian screenwriter. But did he write this one as well? Did he write these three stories?
So he did in collaboration with Eftimus Philippou.
Okay, I don't know who that is.
Yeah. So he's a co-writer of this. Kinds of Kindness. Yeah.
Because you can tell that this is a bit more. Because Poor Things is more hopeful in the end. Well, all these stories end in some of them are quite bittersweet, but also they're just weird. All the endings are weird. Like there's not a sense of triumph in any of the endings, even though the ending is by definition a triumph for some of the characters. So it never. It's just a weird feeling.
It's kind of like a happy ending with an asterisk. Yeah. But no, good film. I reckon. A lot of fun.
Without going into it too much more, I would definitely recommend this movie. If you're a Lanthimos fan, or if you're a fan of just dark humor, if you have the stomach for it and the attention span for it, go watch it in the cinema. I'll probably give this movie another watch in the cinema when it comes out.
I think it's pretty niche. I'd say if you enjoyed Poor Things, that doesn't necessarily mean you would enjoy this film.
You would like this. Yeah, I feel like some of the people that walked out probably liked Poor Things, and then were like, wow, this is nothing like Poor Things.
Yeah, they're pretty different.
It is a little bit, but they're just different tone, different message, less positive. But that's why I like it. I think Poor Things is a better movie, but I think I like Kinds of Kindness more, just because it's weirder and it fits into like, my sardonic tone of enjoying these kind of movies. I guess, yeah.
It is a lot of fun.